Welcome back, guys. Podcast number 6. Chris, what's up?
Hey, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. A lot of,
Tired of
lot
this
of,
weather, but I'm ready to go, man.
yeah. We're supposed to get some cold weather here the end of this week.
Right?
Earlier in this week, it was like 60 degrees and sunny, but we
Jeez.
we actually I woke up to some snow this morning.
Ah,
That's
wow.
kind of odd for down here.
I'm in the armpit, man. I've been in snow for weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
So
So
what'd you do this weekend, man? You said you had a big weekend.
we did. I had a busy week and a busy weekend. I want to talk a little bit about this property we recently went on, and
Yeah, how'd that go?
it was actually pretty good. It was a client that I went to earlier in the month that I designed a plan for, and it was in Virginia, and the property was an old pasture. They had a lot of pastures, old pasture ground and stuff, and the property was majority of it was taken over by cedars.
Oh,
So in those cedar areas, there's no food.
right.
They were so many, bunched together, and
Approximately how big was the?
the whole property was 87 acres.
Oh, okay, I was gonna. Okay,
Yep, it did have some, hardwood sections on it, but it also had probably, I want to say it was probably 20 acres of field,
all
open
right,
field,
all
but the
right.
rest was cedars.
So
And
is he planning on like bunch of food plots now?
yeah, so I mapped out a bunch of food plots for them that they're going to work on, some switchgrass areas, and then they had this big 10-acre hillside, south facing actually, where it was all just cedars and and giant pines. You walk in there, zero food. So they actually found a person, company to come in, cut these cedars off this hillside, and literally just clear cut it.
Okay.
And they were going to use it for they were building barns and stuff out of the cedars. So
Oh,
the
okay.
the guy like jumped all over it. So he
Yeah.
was all happy to get it, and actually they should be cutting as we
So he
speak.
like took it to a sawmill and had boards made and stuff.
Yeah, yep.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
the landowner found this, found them, and they're coming in. They should be cutting now this week.
Okay.
But they're basically clear cutting this hillside and just let it regrow. And then on the back corner of that was a 2-acre patch of hardwoods that backed up to some other woods, and they actually I told them to put a tree stand back in there, but they actually hired us again to actually come in and do the work. And it was a small patch that we worked on basically out of the whole property. We probably only worked on maybe 10 or 15 acres of the property, but they rented a skid steer, and we came in. They had a big 4-acre patch of these cedars, and we came in and basically we did cut some with a chainsaw, and then also took a skid steer and made kind of like, snake like trails through there on the lower part of it, which was the flattest part. And then on the, hills part of it, we cut like different, like open areas of the cedars, basically just cutting them down, letting them fall. They can decay, decompose, or whatever, just to kind of get more sunlight in there. And the way we use the bulldozer or skid steer to go through, we did it in a direction of flow to where it led them from food plots to bedding, the way the flow of the lay of
Okay.
the how the lay of the land was. So we directed the flow of deer movement through the cedars down into this creek bottom, where we also did cutting to where they can overlook a rifle stand up high on a ridge looking down into this bottom.
Okay, let me ask you something. Inquiring minds want to know. Did uh did you lay the trees down in such a way for bedding, or did you guys tote these all off to one area and ditch them?
Yep. So when we made these roads going through there, snake like trails, we also every 30 yards cut like a open area, like a pocket out, like an open area. We did take some cedars and put them in those areas so to add cover so deer could bed in there.
Okay.
And we kind of separated them every 20 or 30 yards or so. The other areas up on the hillside, we didn't want to take the skid steer in there but there was some flat parts. But we in that instance, we just cut the cedars down to let them lay.
Gotcha.
Basically, just to get some extra food in there.
Yeah, just to get sunlight to the ground, huh?
Yeah, and I want to make a point about that is a lot. I feel like the way I see it is this entire area was covered in cedars. I mean, if you just drive 15 miles out, it's all cedars. All these properties had cedars on them,
Hmm.
massive. So this is what the deer are used to. They're used to this type of habitat. So,
Right.
you know, some people may hate cedars, some people like them. I'm kind of in between, I feel. But to eliminate every single cedar on that property, you could do that. But again, it's part of this what they're used to.
Culture shock.
Right. So we say they're eliminating, say, 50% of them to start with, and then they
Okay.
can come back and manage that as years go on.
Hmm.
So the property was really lacking food, and then some hardwoods we cut. We did a bunch of hinge cutting. We were there for 2 days,
Mm.
and it was a lot of work. I couldn't move
Ugh,
after,
bet.
but
Cripple.
everything went pretty smooth, really. But
Yeah.
you know, Zach was on the skid steer. He was doing some stuff. I jumped on it. I was on it 5 minutes and derailed a track. So we
You
had.
have trouble with skid steers, you know that.
I do. I have a bad history with skid steers. Um, so
Yeah.
we had to call the landowner. He come out, and it was actually a buddy of his that he rented it from. He came out and they had it fixed in 30 minutes. They put it
Yeah.
back on.
Nice.
Um, they're it's second nature to them. But yeah, so I was on it 5 minutes and derailed a track.
Oh,
But that's just some things that that the listeners can do is, have an idea. Never eliminate everything of something. I feel, that's just the way I see it. That's what they're used to. The main idea is obviously just to kind of, if you have these cedar thickets, create pass through them, cut some down, direct the flow of traffic of deer where you want them to go, because a deer is going to go with the path of least resistance.
yeah, and I have a story about that this week here. I just posted a video about a little experiment that I did,
Hmm.
and down here on my own property, I don't have a whole lot of browse, not much to speak of at all. And
I've been there many times.
yeah, and if I do, it's over deer head high. You know,
Hmm.
they've got it browsed up.
Yep.
So I had a lot of small birch trees coming on, like 15, 20 feet tall. And I don't really need them in there. There's not a whole lot of significance to them.
Mm-mm.
Um, I don't know that they're even a very highly preference, high on the preference of a deer to eat. But given that there's not a lot out there, I wanted to go cut them down and put a trail camera out.
Hmm.
So I did that this week, and I made a little video. And I just posted it here. It'll be out before this podcast even comes out. And it was pretty interesting. It took 16 hours for the deer to find it,
Hmm.
but in retrospect, that's not really that long, uh, given the conditions we have right now. But they are out there searching,
Yeah.
and
Now,
uh,
did you cut these completely or did you hinge cut them?
I completely cut them.
Okay.
Yep, I cut them off. I terminated them. Uh, Took them down, and in the main trunk portions, I chopped them off and threw them off to the side, and just left all the
The
tops
tops.
lay.
Yeah.
And they were so budded out. I mean, they had so many buds on them. And
Hmm.
yeah, 16 hours. It was pretty cool. I got some cool video in the video
Hmm.
coming out. I had the camera on video mode, so it was pretty neat. It was a
Yeah.
nice little experiment. But said all that to say this: you were just talking about cutting, taking too much of something, and whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now my neighbors down here to the north of me, they had about 15 acres, and they darn near clear cut it
Hmm.
and made a huge mess. But I went for a walk this week, and I'm not really in favor of clear cutting something like that and getting rid of it all, like you're saying.
Hmm.
But they were using that as I don't know what I want to call it, like a safe haven. They weren't really bedding in it per se, but man, all the tracks in the snow were heading straight through all that garbage,
Mhm.
and they was kind of using it like a tunnel, man. It was going from one place to another, and I kind of thought they would avoid that area because it was so nasty.
Mhm.
They do not. They just pick and choose their routes through
Yeah.
there. I mean, you're not going to keep them out, I guess, but I was just very surprised at how much they was using that area.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
as long as they have room to walk through, or
yeah, they was
they
getting
don't
through there.
they don't feel trapped or something.
No, and on the other side of it, like on my side, it's all hardwoods, and it transitions through that 15 acres of total decimation, which is only a couple hundred yards wide, but it was
Mhm.
real long. That's what made up the 15 acres. So they just had a short distance, couple hundred yards to get through all that garbage. But on the other side now, guess what was over there?
What?
Water and bedding.
Mhm. Mm. Gotcha.
There was a swampy area over there, and deer love to drink tainted water. I don't know why that is, but they love puddles and stuff like that. But
Me
it was,
personally, I like clean water.
yeah, no doubt. So this swampy area, they were tramping all through that,
Mhm.
and I even posted some pictures on Instagram of some of the trails that I found this week down there, just trampled to the mud. And we've got like 6 inches of snow on the ground, and they've had it trampled right down to the mud.
Mhm.
And like I said, once you broke through there, then there was all like you're talking pine, cedar, whatever it is, all this green trees, real dense, dark, moist, but no snow under there.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of them are bedding.
Yeah.
And on the outside of that now is a field. So you know, there's an instance where my food plots are on this side, hardwoods, water, bedding, fields. It's like the perfect combination.
Yeah.
They have it all right there. But my point was, like, you don't really slow them down a whole lot. If they went through there and they can fit, they're going.
Yeah. Well, the other thing we did too, or listeners can do too, is Zach was taking the bucket of the skid steer
Hmm.
and just lifting it up high and smacking the limbs off the trees just
Okay.
to get sunlight in, because when you walk through there, it was so thick, 5 feet down to the ground, and 5 feet,
Right.
there was not a single needle on the trees,
Oh,
on the limbs,
just just snapping off all the dead stuff.
because there was no sunlight getting to that portion. The
Right.
top half of it had sunlight, or had needles and stuff on it, green,
Yeah.
because it was hitting sun, but then the 5 feet down was completely dead. And the reason I bring that up is because I saw somebody on social media saying that pines are awesome, for like thermal wind protection,
Yeah.
but they're not when it's really thick if there's
Mm.
no needles or to
Right.
block that flow, that
Right.
airflow. So, like, there has to be balance with it, but you have to open it up some. Everything's about sunlight.
Yeah, you can't have all that dead stuff hanging like that. I mean, there's not only that, but you've heard people say, "Well, oh, they eat pine needles and pine bark."
They do.
Man, they gotta be starving for that, though.
We
Man,
Hey, that first year at the farm we hunted together, the
yeah,
first year I was there, I had trail cameras on
we've
it.
seen it.
They were eating pine needles.
Yeah, we've seen it. And I don't like to see that because,
Well, the ribs were showing on all the deer
oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, ribs were
when I
showing.
the very first year, but we fixed that in 1 year.
Let's switch it up. You going to
What?
Harrisburg show?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, he's going. He's going.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I'm headed. I've got an online ticket for the first time.
Nice. I talked you into it.
Yes. Yeah. I just thought about all the years past standing in that big line outside
In the cold,
in the cold, and you don't want to wear too heavy of a coat.
because it gets hot inside.
because it's hot inside and you got to get rid of your coat somehow. And I always bring a backpack, but you can't roll up a big coat tight enough to get it into a backpack,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
without
yeah,
looking like you got a freaking
right.
a sleeping bag on your back, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew each other was going, guys. We're actually going to meet up and walk around the show, but I got my ticket online as well. I'm going to go
Yeah.
up. We're going to meet Saturday morning early, and since we both have our tickets, we're going to go straight through
Yep.
the
We're gonna
doors.
try to get in as quick as we can
Yep.
because it's supposed to be, I think, below 30 degrees Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold. So, with this show, what are your thoughts on these shows? This Harrisburg show.
Well, and we've talked. We even did a podcast about this a couple years ago when you had the other platform going
Yeah, it was like three
that
years ago.
you canceled that out. But
Mhm.
we were talking about how the shows are dying off.
Mhm.
Everything. I mean, because you can do anything online now or virtually, and people don't need to go walking around looking at things unless they're. I mean, I like doing it, to be honest. I like to put my hands on things, but there's a lot of people don't want to drive that far to go do this. Like I got to
Y
drive 3 hours to get to this show.
You can shake everybody's pea hands.
Yeah, everybody don't wash their hands. They all
Yeah.
want to shake.
That's a thing with this show, guys. It's a cesspool, and I'm not really like a germaphobe really too bad, but like there's something with this show. I'm telling you, it's just like
You
when you
get
get
sick every
done,
year.
with it, you just want to go home, burn your clothes, and shower for like 6 hours because you're
I agree.
shaking hundreds of people's hands. They're going to the bathroom. They're not. It's just I started giving everybody fist bumps and elbows.
Got the heebie-jeebies.
Yes,
So, is there anything that you're looking forward to seeing at this show?
um I
Are you
want to.
shopping for anything
I am
specifically?
ammo.
Ah,
I need some ammo, and TJ, TJ, he
yes.
wants ammo, so he's gonna send me a list of stuff that he wants.
Are
So
they allowed to sell ammo though?
I I I'm pretty sure that they have ammo
I'm not sure.
because I'm pretty sure TJ came up a couple years ago and bought it.
Okay.
But um, I'm looking for ammo, and I want a good pair of hiking boots.
Ah,
I want to see if they have any boots, and then that's
anything in mind?
not really. I don't
Name
really.
brand?
Well, I was looking last night at Solomon hiking boots because
Never heard of them.
well, Solomon makes like snowboards and stuff.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I used to snowboard a lot, but
Interesting.
yeah, I can't snowboard now. I'll break a hip. But
Because you're old.
Yes, I'm looking at those boots. See if they. I don't think they're going to be there, but I'll check. Other than that, that's really the only two things, and then just hang out with your goofy self and try to trip you a bunch, and
You ain't tripping me. I'm too fast.
I'm gonna trip you. And see who we run into, and we'll talk to some booths and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Yeah, well, you were saying about my thoughts. Anyhow, I got lost on my thoughts there.
I got thoughts too.
There was, I did see this year there is a lot of vendors that were coming back. Remember last year how there was like empty booths.
Hmm.
Although I've heard there was a couple vendors that aren't going to show either.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
that every year.
yeah. I mean, some of the guys are like up in age and they can't sit there for 9 days straight.
It's a long
That
show.
that's a marathon, dude. That ain't a race.
Hmm.
I couldn't do it. I
Yeah,
couldn't do 9 days there.
it's too
No way.
long. I know the booths are very expensive, very expensive. A lot of people don't realize how expensive they are. I've never had one, but I know how much they cost,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of time to go there for 9 days, which you're looking probably at like 11 days by the time you drive up, get a
Yeah, set
hotel.
up.
It's
Yeah, set up,
12
tear
days,
down.
right?
Hmm.
So it's a lot of time to be away from home, and if people have a business and stuff, it's tough. But the show I used to go to when I was a kid, it was it just seemed different. It was more of hunters being there. Now it seems like it's just non-hunters and it's people just looking for like little knickknacks type things, and they're not like like really hunters that's going to the show. It's just like, oh, it's Saturday, let's go to the show and just kind of walk around and eat a corn dog and a chocolate chip cookie from the Amish.
Yeah, see
It,
what's up.
yeah, it's not real like really hunters going there discussing hunting with the vendors, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. Look at when we sat in a booth.
Yes.
You know, you and I sat in a booth there for a while and a couple years in a row, and people, unless you engage them, they don't even engage you
Nope.
unless they actually have a question. You know, I would try to interject and like, hey, have you seen this product before? Or, are you interested in this? Or do you food plot? They would actually talk back, or someone, so a lot of them were like, not interested. Yes, sorry. It's just hard. It was hard to interact with these people,
Hmm.
because like you said, a lot of them just seem like the yuppies that go out on the first day of deer and then that's it,
Yeah,
you know.
it's just I think people are just bored, so they just say, "Hey, let's go to the hunting show." But it's like it's just people that's not even hunters.
Well, you know what I'm tired of at the show? I really
What are you tired of?
This is what I'm tired of. The gimmicks.
Yeah, right.
I'm tired of there's a gimmick for everything,
Hmm.
you know. Uh I like real legit stuff.
Hmm.
I don't like all the gimmick stuff. You need this because you got that, and you know, I get tired of it.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
I don't want to. I
Everybody's
know.
trying to make a buck, I get it, but
Yeah. I don't
it's
want to.
getting to be a rich man's sport.
Yeah. I don't want to degrade the show. It is a. It
No, it's a
can.
good show. I enjoy it. I do.
It's the biggest. I mean, there's so many people there. If people have never been, I would definitely encourage them to go at least once just to check it out. And you can find deals on stuff, but it's like, remember 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was we were there. I wanted a knife.
Yes.
I wanted an outdoor edge knife,
Yeah, and see,
and I went I
let me
went there.
let me
God,
preface this.
yeah,
He told me he wants outdoor edge knife. So I tell him,
I
well,
was hyped up about this knife.
he was, and I was like, hey, my buddy is a rep over at Outdoor Edge, and I know he's in that booth. I said, let's go over and see him. Go ahead, you take it away.
So I was hyped up about this knife. I was talking about it. I go over there and I go to buy this knife and I bought it. Well, I thought I was getting like a deal on it, and then like later that day, ended up looking it up on Amazon, and I paid like $15 or something more for the knife.
Yeah, and I know the people, right? And I'm like, hey, this guy here wants to buy a knife. What kind of deal can you give us?
Hmm.
And they like knocked money off supposedly,
Hmm. And
and
still paid more for it.
and he still paid more. And here I thought they was doing me a favor because I knew them, giving him a good deal. And he finds out he paid more.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
but
I wasn't
I
really worried about it, but like,
well, I
oh,
was I was kind of jaded about it.
yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
didn't.
these are my buddies. They live in my hometown in here.
Right, right. I mean, I didn't need any special deal. I just figured it was like, being that you're at the show,
Yeah, show special.
it would be some sort of thing, and I'm not bent out of shape about $15, but it's just the point of everybody can get things online now
Yeah, buyer
for,
beware, huh?
yeah, you can get stuff online and you don't have to pay the $15-$20 to get into the show, and then you have to pay the $15-$20 to park. It's more of
Yeah.
the camaraderie setup, that people are there for.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Why do you keep going back?" And I said, "Well, I don't know why. I keep saying every year I'm not going, but
Yeah,
I've made so many friends, you know, with even with just the vendors, like just buying their products every year and
yeah.
things, and
Well, that's where I met
and
you at.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's where I met. That's where we met at the show, and just making friends, being at the show, talking to different vendors, and using different products.
Hmm.
Uh, you know. I just read online tonight that one of the guys that sells bear scents is going to be back this year,
Hmm.
and because I didn't see them last year, so that's cool. I'll get to say hi to them this year.
Who would have thought we met at the show and then 2 years later we buried a skid steer up almost past the top of it?
Not we, you.
You were you were panicking.
Oh, you talk about panic? What I have? I had a half of a broken shovel or something. I was
Yeah,
trying to dig it out with.
this skid steer was buried. It
Handle
was
was broke, and I had like
yeah.
2 feet of trying to
We
dig this.
were we were deep in
Oh,
this
it
skid
was,
steer.
it was deep. It was
Yeah.
deep. But
So
well, we did a job on that property, and
yeah, and we buried a skid
it
steer.
it was good while it lasted.
Yeah. At least the owner thought it was funny.
Yeah, the owner of the skid steer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was okay with it. He treated us all right at first. But he acted mad afterward, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Is
yeah,
what it
it
is.
is what it is.
That happens.
So on social media, I have seen some stuff, and we did talk about this prior, but I want to discuss to wrap this podcast up is kind of like the right and wrong way of things. If when it comes to habitat, work improvements, food plots, whatever it is, there's a million different ways you can do something, and people get it in their mind that there's only one way to do it. Okay, and if somebody goes against that, they're a terrible person, they're doing it wrong, they're not going to have success, and so forth. So I want to talk about that of just there people are just so rude on social media, and they bash people for no reason.
I saw a post tonight before we got on. A guy, right up front, he says, "Hey, I'm new to this site. I'm new to food plotting. I'm going to do my first soil test. I want to know like what kind of clover I can plant, and that I wanted to plant this clover before fall."
Hmm.
Well, all the experts come out of the closet and told him what he needed to do and how he shouldn't put that clover in the fall because all that'll do is set him up for next spring. And if you want to hunt over it this year, you need to get it established in the spring. And they're right; they are right. But the way they was talking to this guy, he just said how new he was to it, and he was
Hmm.
explaining that he was a novice, and these guys just jumped him.
Hmm. Well, even like the advanced people, each person has their own way of doing things, and not that they're wrong because their way may work, but if somebody else sees them doing it their way, you know what I mean, and not doing it you know, their way,
Yeah,
they just it's just so many negative comments. For instance, people are so on this trend of no-till stuff.
it drives me
And
nuts.
yeah, and it's just like, I had a video the other day of me describing a food plot. Actually, I made a video back in the fall of we basically took overhaul from the main
Yeah,
and we planted it and we just dished it back in the soil very lightly, only the top, couple inches.
right.
And I had a lot of duff
Stuff.
on top of the soil, and it I I slung Nebraskas out over top of it, right?
Mhm,
I
mhm.
didn't caught the packet, I didn't roll it, I didn't do anything with it, right? And I posted that video. 50 comments saying I'm an idiot. There's no way this food plot's going to grow. I should have no-tilled it. You have to call it the packet. You have to roll it and so forth, right?
Nah.
I came back 4 weeks later and did an update video. It was a beautiful food plot. I
Yeah,
mean, beautiful food plot.
right.
So why did I get attacked? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
because it
just
it didn't fit their narrative. That's why.
it didn't fit their narrative.
Yeah.
It's just it blows my mind on this stuff and this
Oh, I
whole.
I get it all the time because I always, you know, show B-roll of me or something, using cultivators or discs, and I'm destroying all the biome and all the all the bugs and life that's in the dirt. And the sun's baking my dirt, and
All the oxygen.
I'm eroding. All the erosion. The wind's blowing my topsoil to the neighbor's farm and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
But
it's
hey, I would agree. If I owned a no-till drill, I would use it in some instances.
yeah.
But
Well,
I don't.
it has a time and place for it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have it.
Not, and now this whole thing with the rolling of the buckwheat,
Rolling and crimping
rolling
and
and
stuff.
crimping, and well, not everybody has a freaking crimper.
No,
I haven't seen a single farmer crimp anything.
those things are expensive.
They're and not to mention when you get into like the wheat and rye and stuff, you have to crimp that at a very specific time in
Has to
order
be
to
in the
kill it.
dough stage. Yep.
Yeah, in order for it. So what food plotter can time their time that close of when a piece of wheat is in the dough stage for them to
Right.
go crimp it?
Well, and I had wheat and rye in the same plot mixed, and
Hmm.
they weren't at the dough stage at the same time.
Yeah,
So I had to
right.
go in. I ended up brush hogging it all.
Yeah, yeah,
I brush hogged it
yeah.
and sprayed it dead.
Yep. It's weird, man. People they come up with this stuff and they just bash people. And a lot of times if they say these things, they
They're
never even
repeating
done
it.
it. They
They've
never
seen it
even done it.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just seen it somewhere else, but they have no experience with it whatsoever.
true.
But they're just repeating what somebody else says. I see it all the time on because I know because I've been making videos a long time. When somebody says a certain phrase, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, they're repeating
they're
exactly what
watching
so and
him.
so said.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're watching his videos.
Yep.
Yep,
I see it all the time.
yep.
And I go to look at their Facebook page or the social media and it's for like cats and dogs. There's no food plots, there's no habit, there's
Yeah, right.
it's very odd.
Yeah. Well, the most common response is plant rye. Do what
Whatever,
you want.
bro. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, hey, the social media anyhow to ask a question. I mean, I'm so hesitant to answer anything anymore even
I
because if
stay
you
off.
don't
Yeah.
yeah, I don't even answer these people anymore. Like I bite my tongue like I have the phone in my hand like ready to text them and it's like, "Nah, someone else will come up with it."
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know.
just and it ruins it for like you said, the new people getting into
Well,
it
I would
because
like to help somebody,
yeah,
but
but then you try to help them and then somebody else jumps
50
in.
other guys jump in and try to explain away what you told them.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's tough. I stay off of it, and like I said, guys, there's 50 different ways to do the same thing.
And it's all about
You
your
know?
goals too. How
Yeah,
what you want.
yeah,
You don't have to. It's not a cookie cutter.
mm-mm,
It's not like that.
yeah,
It's all on how you want to do something. What's your goals?
hmm,
You got to have a plan.
hmm,
Can't stress it enough.
yeah. You don't need a no-till. You don't need. I mean, you don't
No,
need a roller. You don't need a crimper. You don't need. It's very food plots
no.
are very, very, very simple to do.
Yeah, it's made to be a science anymore. They
Hmm.
make it into a science and they just confuse everybody,
Yes.
you know.
Yep.
I mean, it was so easy cavemen could do it.
A monkey
You're a
can
good
do it.
example of that.
A monkey can do it.
You can do it.
A
You're
monkey.
caveman. You,
Monkeys.
you caveman.
I am a caveman.
Well, that was episode 6, guys. Thanks for listening. Um, he's Whitetail Obsession. I'm City Sticker. Subscribe to our channels. Listen to the podcast. You can find the video podcast on my channel, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll see
We'll
you
see
guys.
you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.